Stop learning how to use AI and get rich from it instead, and here's exactly how. First things first, AI is estimated to add around $15.7 trillion of value to the global economy. If you don't believe me, here's the World Economic Forum reporting on it. And just to give you context, the internet has added around $7 trillion to the global economy so far. So that's more than twice the amount of value that the internet has provided. And so the internet has created many millionaires, and the AI will create many more. And so how do you partake in this massive revolution without missing out? And there's two ways you can approach it. The first way is selling your time for money, and I want to walk you through that first. And so if you want to make money quickly, your primary goal should be to learn how to set up AI automations, workflows, integrations, etc. Okay? You want to spend all your time learning each individual skill and each individual software, so that way you can sell your time for money, setting it up for other people. And with these skills, you can sell your time for a few hundred, maybe a few $1,000s. And since you're a general service provider, you can go after anybody in any market and solve a small problem by setting up a simple automation or workflow yourself. By going this route, you're choosing to sell your time. And so the step one to do this is you want to learn all the AI tools, N8N, SynthFlow, all the pop-in AI tools. And then you want to sell your services for around $500 to $3,000 a month, even if you're lucky. And then step three is to be a freelancer and sell your time. Okay, so that's step one. And now the other option is to sell AI infrastructure offers for much more money. And here's how to go about that. And so if you want to make the most money by selling AI, the primary goal should be leverage. And so how do you play the game in a leveraged way? And as the founder, you don't want to prioritize your time and effort learning things like automations, workflows, etc. Because these are skills that are easily outsourced, that you can easily outsource to other people who've spent their entire life learning it and working within that area. And you can outsource the work for them to do it for you. Okay, and so instead your energy needs to go towards taking advantage of the right opportunity in a leveraged way. And so step one is to identify trends and problems. Okay, so what is the biggest problem within any given market that they're facing, and how can you solve that problem in a leveraged way? And step two is to create an offer around solving the entire problem. Within any given market, you want to identify what is their current situation and what is the desired situation of the market. And what is the top 1% of that market doing that the rest of the market is missing out on? And how can you bridge that gap in between their current and their desired situation and solve each problem with a sequence of mechanisms so that we can charge high ticket prices opposed to selling your time for money? Okay, and so you create a hypothesis around the problems you've identified. And step three is to validate your offer, to validate your hypothesis by talking to your market and hopping on sales calls with them. And so step four, sell your offer for anywhere in between 5, 10, 15, 20K, depending on which problem or market you're targeting. You can charge as low or as high as you would like to. Okay, and step five is to be a leverage, selling a tangible asset, not selling your time for money. You create a solution and you plug and play it into different businesses, and so it's the world's difference. And I've spoken to hundreds of people looking to sell AI offers, and 99% of them are always facing the same problem. They're stuck on trying to figure out which tools and skills they should be learning. But here's the truth: learning how to set up automations and use tools isn't a bad thing, but it isn't completely necessary. And here are the skills and things you should really be focused on, especially in the beginning. The first thing is identifying a winning market and the problems they face. Okay. Step two is reverse engineering the problems they have into a high value AI infrastructure offer. So identifying a market, identifying what is their desired situation and what are all the problems they face in between their current and their desired situation, and reverse engineering that into your offer, into mechanisms you can implement to solve each problem in between their current and their desired situation. And then the next thing is creating desire and getting attention for your market and offer. The number one constraint that most businesses face in the beginning is demand. Okay. They're not getting attention and they don't know how to convert it. So getting attention, creating desire, and then nurturing and converting attention. Because within any given market, only 3% of people are ready to buy. So that means the rest of the 97% of the market needs to be nurtured, and they need to build more trust. You need to build more trust with them before they're able to hop on a sales call and buy from you. Okay, and most people spend months learning all the tools and skills that enables them to fulfill for their clients, just to realize that they aren't even able to acquire clients because they haven't learned the skill, they haven't mastered that skill first, the skill of client acquisition. And so unless you plan on selling your time for money and becoming a freelancer, you need to understand that the most important thing, which is the fact that you're running the business. The most important thing is you're running a business unless you plan on being a freelancer and selling your time for money. And a business has many components to it, okay? Typically within a service business, you have your offer, so the thing you're selling, your lead flow, how many leads are you getting, what are you doing to get leads, to get people interested in what you're selling, how many appointments are you booking, how many deals are you closing, and how are you fulfilling on the promise that you gave for your customers. And as the founder slash leader of the business, your focus should always be on the main constraint of the business. And so I want to explain to you what the theory of constraints is. It's a method to improve a process by focusing on its biggest bottleneck. And it involves 5 steps. First, you want to find the bottleneck. 2, you want to optimize it. 3, you want to align other steps to support it. And then you want to improve it or remove the bottleneck and then repeat. Okay, so within any given business, there's going to be a bottleneck that's stopping the entire throughput of the business. You need to be able to identify it and then focus all your attention, energy, and resources on fixing that bottleneck, okay, and deconstraining the business. And most people spend months learning about a constraint which hasn't even occurred yet in their business and learning the technical skills needed to fulfill their service. Okay, so most people are so focused, so worried about how they're going to fulfill for their clients when the main constraint isn't service delivery, it's not fulfillment, it's actually getting clients. Okay, and so the number one thing I hear from AI service providers is, what if I get a client and don't know how to fulfill my service? And this is always my response. Why are you afraid of something that hasn't even happened yet and never will happen if you don't learn the most important skill first, which is client acquisition? Okay, and so almost all the fears you make up in your head, not just in business, but in life, probably won't happen. Okay, and so there's this quote by Mark Twain. He said, "I'm an old man and have known a great many troubles, but most of them never happened." And basically what he is saying is that in his head, he has created so many fears and so many scenarios, and 90% of them have never happened. Okay, they won't happen, and if some of them do happen, it will be a lot different than you originally imagined, and you will have different resources to solve them. So let's say you have this fear of fulfilling for your client, and maybe you do run into that fear one day where you do get a client and now you need to fulfill for them. Well, you're not going to be in the same scenario. Let's say before you didn't have any money, but now you've just collected, let's say 4, 6, 10 grand upfront from this client, and you have 10 grand or however much money you collected worth of resources to allocate towards solving this problem. Okay, so if this problem does occur, it most likely won't happen like you thought it would happen, and you will have different resources at your disposal. Okay, and so focus on the main constraint that every business has in the beginning, which is getting attention, getting and converting attention. Okay, and so now I want to talk about how to actually go about fulfilling for your clients once you do onboard a customer and collect money. Okay, and so once you solve the problem of getting and converting attention, and this is my favorite quote by Mark Zuckerberg, which is move fast and break things. Okay, I just want to put that in there. You need to be able to deliver results predictably for your client. Here's a framework for how to do it. Okay, and this is the triple S framework. The first S is structure. Okay, to deliver results predictably, you need a clear roadmap for doing so. There are 3 main phases when it comes to structuring your fulfillment. Phase 1 is onboarding. So phase 2 is building out, so to build out of the actual hard assets and systems you're implementing into their business. And phase 3 is optimization, okay, optimizing it and making sure everything is performing within KPI. And so an example is if you have let's say you're selling upfront meta ads and voice dialer, so you're getting leads for your customers by running their ads for them, and you're also nurturing those leads and booking them into appointments by building out and implementing a voice dialer into their business. Here's what it will look like, okay, in the 3 phases structure. Phase 1 is onboarding. You have the onboarding form, onboarding call, you collect the information. Phase 2 is build out. You begin building out, let's say you're running AI creatives, begin building out the AI creatives and the AI agent, also building out the meta ads campaign, and also integrating the system with your current CRM. And then phase 3 is optimizing it, where you take a look at how are the ads performing, how's the agent performing, is it hallucinating, and if everything's performing good, you double down on it. If it's not, then you need to make the optimizations needed to be made. Okay, it's very straightforward. Cut out all the fluff and just focus on the things that move the needle forward. Okay, so this is what the 3-phase delivery structure looks like. And so you want to get your clients quick wins. You want to reinforce your customer's decision of buying your service by getting them a quick win within 48 hours of them purchasing. Okay, what is a quick win? Basically means low effort and high impact is a quick win. So a low effort task that has high impact, that's a quick win. That's a quick win. And basically here's something called the action priority matrix. Okay, so it basically splits up where you should allocate your effort and what you should focus on and how you should prioritize your tasks. So if you have low effort and high impact tasks, those are quick wins. You want to do those first. And then if you have low effort and low impact tasks, those are, you can do them, but they're not as important. You can set them off. And if you have high effort and high impact tasks, these are major projects and things that need to get done in the long term. And then if you have high effort and low impact tasks, these aren't even worth doing. Okay, and you can put those to the side. And so you want to make sure you're getting your clients quick wins because that reinforces their decision of buying your service. Okay, and so another thing you also want to do is under promise and over deliver. Okay, so for example, you can make a promise to your client saying, hey, ads will be up and running by Friday, but you actually want to have them up and running by Wednesday, so that way you're reinforcing their decision, and you're over delivering on your promises. And so the third thing is systemize. Okay, the second S is systemize. And so once your service delivery has been mapped out, you need to systemize it. And you want to create SOPs or checklists around every aspect of your service delivery. And it's very straightforward. Most people overcomplicate this, but you take a look at everything that needs to be done within your service delivery, and you make checkpoints or check boxes on exactly how to do it. Okay, high level overview of how to do it. Okay, and this makes outsourcing easier and more predictable. So every time you outsource, let's say media buying or onboarding to someone you've just hired, you don't have to walk them through A to Z. Yeah, you can give them a quick overview, but you just give them a checklist, so that way every day they can look at it and check off, all the tasks that they've done and making sure they're staying on track. Okay, and so that was the second S, and the last S is staff. The last step is to outsource your fulfillment. So the three main pillars of fulfillment that you need to outsource is onboarding, so the actual onboarding experience of your customers, having someone to hop on the calls and take care of that. Customer success, someone to manage all the client accounts and make sure that your clients are getting results. And three, systems integrator, someone to actually build out the hard assets and the systems, opposed to you having to learn all the tools and spend months learning it yourself. Once you've collected capital from your customers, you outsource it to someone who spent their entire life learning it, and they build out the systems once, and you plug and play into all your customers' businesses. And so that's exactly how you go about it. And so if you're looking to learn more, our first link in the description is the AI Scaling Specialist School community. This entire chart will be in there. All my YouTube charts are in there. And if you're looking to partake in this massive revolution that's coming upon us, which is AI, then we have tons of insights in there, and you can get direct access to me in there. So other than that, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.